Where did it get off thinking that our way is the only way and everybody must do it our way?
I think it came from this deep sense of our manifest destiny inside North America. And we did have this belief all during the 18th and 19th centuries that it was our destiny to spread from coast to coast. So we were essentially expanding ever since the Pilgrims landed. Then at the end of the 19th century, we filled up North America. Then I think we really had a big turning point as a nation. We had to ask ourselves, so are we finished now? Or do we keep going? The way that we looked at Native Americans and Mexicans, who we cleared off of North America, it was the same way that we began to look at people in other countries. They're poor, backward children. And although they may think and say that they want to be independent and they have their own ways, actually they're too childish to be able to make such a decision. We are the ones who know best for them. And actually, when we overrule their will and we brush aside their aspirations and impose our aspirations, we're actually helping them because they think they know what's best for them, but we actually know what's best for them.
It's a kind of hubris that's staggering, really. But as you say, it stems from a lot of successful history.
And I would add that this is not a strange little belief that just a few people had. The Dulles brothers did not hijack American foreign policy and make the United States do things that nobody wanted us to do. They represented what was probably the last general consensus about foreign policy in our history. Everybody was trained and inculcated to see the world the same way. The mass media, the loose empire, everybody was preaching the same view of the world. And anybody offering a counter view was viewed as strangely subversive. During that period, if you even talked about troubles inside the United States, if you complained about racial injustice, for example, or you defended labor unions, you were already considered suspect because it was immediately thought that you were kind of off the program. And the Dulleses were very successful in maintaining that discipline inside the United States and making sure that truly dissenting voices were not heard.
Was it you who said, and if so, in the last line of the book, they are us and we are they?
Yes, I think it's too easy for us to read stories like the stories of the Dulles brothers and say, oh, that was a couple of bad guys. And we have this fantasy, not only about America, but about other countries, that if you could just peel off the layer of a few bad actors, everybody would be happy and live like in Switzerland. That was our approach in Iraq. Just get rid of Saddam Hussein and about 10 other bad people, then everyone in Iraq will become pro-American and it'll look just like Switzerland. There's a fantasy that's very deep here, and it has to do with being so self-centered that you believe everybody wants to be like you and should be like you. It's the idea that there's only one real good way to run a country, one good way to have a life, and that's the way that me and my best friends have. The Dulleses and the people who ran American foreign policy in those days were all white Protestant males who went to the same private schools, the same law schools. They went to work for the same law firms and investment banks. Those were the only two professions in that business. They vacationed in the same places. They married the same women. They went to the same parties. It was a very inbred group, and anybody that didn't fit was seen as being on some kind of a lower level, not a different level.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.